Greetings all, this is Dickie Adams with Pocketnow.com, and today we're taking a closer look at the software on the Samsung Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch for Sprint. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So let's start off with the lock screen. It's not a normal slide unlock like I prefer. It's this picture unlock, so you have to drag the picture off the screen to unlock it. And if you're used to being able to swipe very quickly, it has a tendency to get stuck. So you have to make a concerted effort to make sure that you swipe it all the way off the screen. The first world problem, obviously. And then we move into the TouchWiz application, which is Samsung's default UI, and frankly, it's very quick. Normally, I like to replace the UI very quickly, but this has been outstanding. And if you tap and hold on the numbers down here, the dots, you can actually slide back and forth very quickly between the screens to choose which page you're going to be on. You can also add pages if you like, so you can add more icons to your screen if you so choose. To move an icon around on the screen, you tap and hold, and then you can slide it back and forth. We'll show you another method here in a few minutes, which is kind of a neat functionality of this particular device. The app drawer has the ability to be sorted. View type, you can do a customizable grid and then lay out the apps as you see fit, an alphabetical grid or an alphabetical list, so that you can kind of slide back and forth here between the apps. In the alphabetical grid list and the customizable grid list, when you move to the end or you start at the beginning and you swipe backwards or forwards respectively, you actually move right through the apps again. So no moving to the end and then stopping, then scrolling all the way back to be able to get to your previous app, which I really do enjoy. If we go into the display, then there is a screen mode here, and I've noticed on some people's comments about this particular device, they complain that the skin tones are too red. If you have it in dynamic mode, and you can see that change there, it does make the reds much more bright and brilliant, which could affect skin tones, whereas with movie it's almost dulls the picture a little bit. I've left it on standard because so far that's what I like. Another functionality that's different here on this Epic 4G Touch is the power saving mode, where you can enable and turn items off and on depending on the battery level. So if your battery is getting low, you can tell it to turn off the Wi-Fi or turn off Bluetooth, GPS. You can change the brightness, you can change the screen timeout, and it also has some power saving tips. Another item down here is motion settings, and this is where I was talking about some of the new functionality in the Sense UI. You have turnover, which allows you to turn the device over to mute it, which is not terribly new. Tilt, so to reduce or enlarge gallery pictures, you can actually put two fingers on the screen and then tilt the device forward and backwards to zoom. The pinch to zoom still works. Panning allows you to tap and hold an icon on the desktop and then twist the device back and forth to move that icon to another screen. And then double tap allows you to set the device into the voice command mode, and then tap twice on the top of the device to activate the voice command mode. We'll cover that in just a second. There are some tutorials here to show you how those each individually work, which are really helpful. But if you leave the notifications on some of these devices, it will also show you, for example, when we open up the internet browser, it's going to pop up and tell us that we have the ability to touch the screen and tilt it back and forth. You can turn those notifications off, thankfully. It's got swipe. It's got the Samsung keypad, which I don't really care for, and I installed the gingerbread variant of the keyboard, which is the one I actually prefer. Swipe I find works just fine. The Samsung keypad was frankly just annoying. Some of the apps on this device, AllShare is pretty typical for devices these days, although I don't really use it myself. Google Books is on here. The gallery is the Samsung default gallery, as one would expect. Internet browser we'll come back to in just a minute. Keyser, or Keyser, however you want to pronounce that. It's kind of a neat functionality because it gives you the ability to connect to this device via Wi-Fi to move data back and forth rather than having to connect a cable, which I appreciate. Media Hub is pretty typical of Samsung. You can rent and buy movies and content there. Nova 2 HD is actually the full version, not a demo. You do have to download about a 350 meg add-on afterwards to get it to run, but it ran very well. NASCAR app is part of the bloat, but you can uninstall both of these, which is really, really nice. Some of the other functionality or software applications, you got the Social Hub, which I just don't like using because I find that the default apps are usually better. Polaris Office for your office viewing apps. Sprint ID, which we've seen before, and again, thankfully it doesn't lock you into Sprint ID. Some more of the, like the Music Plus, Sprint Radio, TV and movies, some of those you can uninstall and some you can't. Voice command is Vlingo wrapped up for Samsung, and that's how that double tap works for doing some of the voice command options. And then you've got visual voicemail as well, which is a nice addition. If you look over here, here's the voice command button and then a driving mode as well. So here's the default camera app. We've got a series of buttons over here, and your settings button here can actually change those shortcuts to items that you would like to use instead. All of those settings are available listed right here in this settings menu, but if you have some that you like to quickly change, for example the autofocus type or the exposure, you can customize those to your heart's content. You have a slider over here to switch between movie and camera mode, which we'll show in just a second. This is for the front facing versus rear camera. Tap to focus on areas, and it does have a notification tone. And then you can tap to hold to get ready to take your picture to set the focus, and then when you move your finger up, it will take the shot. If you move your finger to the interior of the screen like this, it won't actually take the shot for you, which is nice when you're trying to actually take a photo without having a dedicated camera key. Switching over to the video camera mode will automatically pop up and ask you what mode you want, but tapping on it doesn't actually do anything. You have to click the back button in order to clear that. There is the option to turn the flash on for videos, but just simply tapping it does not turn the flash on until you tell it to record. And then you have some additional options here as well to change some effects and the resolution, video quality, etc. So I've got it loaded up to the mobile Pocketnow, but you can see right here it popped up this message. Learn about tilt. Tap and hold 2 points and you can to tilt the device back and forth, and shows a little demo, and you can tell it do not ask again, and it won't prompt you again after it's done. But I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to tell it to open up the desktop version of Pocketnow.com, and we can see we're on Wi-Fi here and it's already loaded up most of the page. I'm going to go ahead and just start scrolling or zooming in here. Scrolling up and down. It's very quick and snappy. I'm not having any trouble scrolling up and down. If I go into video content here, scroll here, there's our video content that we can actually tap and view if we wanted. They have the ability to open up multiple windows if you like, or stop. You can change your browser brightness outside of the normal screen brightness, which is awesome as well. Another way to change your brightness is the Android version. You tap and hold the bar up here for a few seconds, and you can slide your finger back and forth on the brightness if you don't already have it set. Again, as mentioned in the hardware review, since this is part of software, I haven't had any troubles with the device locking up due to applications. I really don't have to close the apps really with the task manager, other than when I was trying to do some speed tests like Quadrant or SmartBench. I was closing apps at that point that had already been launched by me, such as Touchdown, which didn't need to be running as part of the Quadrant test. So overall, it's been a fantastic device and an admirable upgrade to the Epic 4G line across the board. Also, in regards to the camera and the video cam, we have a photo editor app and a video maker app, both of which I found to be rather depressingly simple. While some people might have fun tweaking their images a little bit with these apps, I didn't find it terribly useful, and rather would use something like Retro Camera to take more interesting photos if that was what I was wanting to do. That wraps up our closer look of the software on the Samsung Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch for Sprint. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching.